The presence of Winnie Byanyima back home is a brief visit from her journey in South Africa to Geneva, Switzerland, the headquarters of the joint United Nations program on HIV and AIDS that she heads.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If for anything, her check-in is compelled by the predicament faced by her husband, Dr. Kizza Besigye, behind the walls of Luzira Maximum Security Prison.
I've met him twice this week. I went to see him on Monday, I saw him on Wednesday, and indeed I've been here just to see him for a few days.
Besigye was formally remanded by a civilian court to Luzira prison following his initial abduction in Nairobi, Kenya in November 2024, but only to be arraigned before the defunct military court in Makindye several days later.
Dr. Besigye has been in this tiny cell, and now he has been attacked by bedbugs.
Besigye, his aide Obedul Tale, and Captain Dennis Ola, a serving soldier, are now battling charges of treason and misprision of treason.
The imprisonment of Dr. Besigye seems to be very, very driven by the president himself. Because you saw him come out and challenge the Supreme Court ruling at a time when we were expecting that the ruling will result in the release of Kizza Besigye. We saw him how he spoke publicly about the case. You saw his son even saying he has fixed a date and a place where to hang him.
Byanyima is concerned that the country has reached a political stalemate which is manifested in the persecution of political dissidents. Her engagement with those assumed to wield power has yet to yield fruits.
Yes, I have talked to some people who are in the executive branch and encouraged them to have a political dialogue. No, they are not making much progress, obviously.
She says it is time to sketch out a deliberate and planned system to provide for a peaceful transition to avoid skirmishes that could erode down the achievements the national resistance movement made in its early years.
Our economy was sinking. He challenged that. We followed him, and we turned the country around. We did. Some people want to say to rewrite the history. They are wrong. We did.
She proposes that holding a political dialogue between the powers in government and the opponents of the regime is the way out of the political conundrum.
He's open to dialogue. Why? Because he's a Democrat. And he has put himself out, dedicated himself to this struggle to give Ugandans a fair chance to choose their leaders. So if there's dialogue, why wouldn't he come to the table? Of course he would come to the table.
But there are minimum preconditions for the dialogue to take place.
So having clear objectives is important, and having a process that is facilitated neutrally. This is going to would take some humility and trust on the part of President Museveni and his NRM party to trust some neutral facilitation.
There were attempts to hold dialogue in the past that never took off from the planning table, the most prominent of them being the dialogue that the Swedish government is said to have been approached to mediate in 2017, though it was disputed by the government. Besigye has in the past stated that his engagement in a dialogue is conditioned on it being broad-based, arguing that the issues at hand concern all Ugandans.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. With Besigye being under incarceration for 6 months now, it appears we have crossed that moment, with political dialogue now cast on the table. As to whether parties critical to a political dialogue will be willing to engage is another subject. Jackson Onyango, reporting for NTV in Kasangati.